Namaste. The focus of the new education policy 2020, as we all know, is to cultivate 21st century skills among the students. And these 21st century skills are critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and digital literacy. The policy of NEP 2020, it has a balanced and inclusive outlook with a diminished line of difference between arts and STEM courses, and it recognizes the need to bridge the gap in education through technology and digitalization, and also it encourages an approach of blended learning, inclusivity, and multidisciplinary approach. Now, when we think about creative writing, what exactly is creative writing? We all know that learning to be effective, it has to be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. Creative writing can for most part be considered as any writing that is original and self-expressive. Now, why this creative writing is so important? Studies over the years have shown that children who are good at creative writing, they are also good in other subjects like mathematics, environmental studies, etc. And writing creatively, the skill of writing creatively helps them to succeed academically as well as professionally. Challenging themselves to come up with creative thoughts, creative writing can be an important therapeutic outlet for the child to imagine new words and to express his or her own feelings. So we understand how important it is for the child to learn how to write creatively. Now, as practicing teachers and parents, how can we help the child to improve his creative writing skills? Now, the creative writing skills can be improved at home and also in the school. It can be done by supporting creativity, by playing word games with children and sparking their imagination with clever writing prompts. So today in this video I am going to discuss about a few why creative writing is advantages of learning creative writing, and also the methods that can be used by parents as well as teachers to help children to express their creativity or help them in developing the very wonderful skill of creative writing. Now, first, advantages of learning creative writing. Coming to the advantages, the first thing, as we all know, is it helps to communicate clearly, and it also helps us to express ourselves. The child is able to express himself or herself and to realize the full potential of the child. This is, as we all know, it is a 21st century skill which is very much required by the children of the present generation. Next thing, the advantage of writing to learn to write creatively is the children learn to be empathetic. How means, in order to write about others, they step into their shoes or they see the world through their eyes, and thus promoting peace and also understanding the culture of other places, and culture of other places, of course, in India as well as worldwide. Next important advantage of creative writing is that it helps the child to appreciate books. Now, if the child is able to write creatively, if the child learns to write creatively, it also sparks their interest to read books, and this spark helps them further in writing creatively. And by having access to books and by reading books, children can access the wisdom of thousands of years of thinking. So these are the advantages of learning creative writing. Now I will come to about a few methods, about 10 methods I will list here, which can be used by parents and teachers in the classrooms as well as at home to help the children develop the skill. Now, first and foremost thing is to never discourage the child. To keep the parents and the teachers should keep in mind that however silly or however whatever kind of story or whatever kind of writing it is, never discourage the child, always encourage the child to write. So once that is achieved, we can have lots of ideas and methodology can be used to help the child to write creatively. First is to write a collaborative story, that is a writing game that can be taken up by parents. Propose a game where the two of you or the three of you, both the parents can also be involved, can write a story together. You just tell a child that, come child, today we'll write a story together, and the first sentence can be written by the parent, and next can be written by the child, and again the next sentence can be written by the child, so on and so forth. Now, while doing this kind of an activity, please keep in mind that the story should be silly and light-hearted in order to keep the child interested. If it is too serious or if it is something that doesn't interest the child will lose the motivation to write creatively. Next thing is draw a picture and ask your child to imagine a story behind the picture. You can draw a picture or you can show a picture from the magazine or from the newspaper or from any other place, and just ask the child to write a story behind the picture. Next activity that can be done is just take the dictionary and pick out a few random words from the dictionary and then write it down on a piece of paper, all these words. It may be new to the children, the vocabulary may be new to the child, but still write it down and make the child understand what is the meaning of those words, and then brainstorm a way to use all these words into a single story. This can be with the help of the parent also, or with the help of the teacher in a classroom. For a very small child like grade 1 and grade 2, I would advise the teachers and the parents to start with a very small object. Just pick up any object of interest to the child, a small toy or any part of a game or something, and just ask the child to talk about that object. So once the interest of the child is developed, then move on to this kind of activities like word games and all. Then if you're traveling with your child on a motorbike or inside a car, just ask the child to look out of the window and think about, for example, if you see an animal, a dog or a buffalo or a cow or anything, just ask the child to imagine where that cow or the buffalo or the dog, where they are going, where they are headed, and write a story about that. Then the next thing that can be done is, if you are taking your child out for a walk or something, then ask him to look at the other people around them on the sidewalk or inside the car or inside the bus, and imagine where they are going, where they are headed, and ask them to write a story around that, around the movement of the people. So that will be very interesting to the child. Next thing that can be done is, if you're in the habit of visiting a park or any other place of interest to you, and if that park or something has a name, ask the child to give a different name, to imagine a different name to the park or any other place that you visit, a marketplace or a railway station or anything like that, a bus stand. Just instill in them the curiosity and the motivation to think their own, come out with their own, name for that place. And next thing that can be done is to ask the child to name their favorite building, which is a favorite place, and then ask them to write about it, why they like that place so much. It can be a playground, it can be a park, or it can be any other place that the child visits, a marketplace, sports activity that the child does, and ask the child to write why the child likes that activity so much. And the last activity, but not the least, it's a very, very effective activity that can be done with a child, is that give them books that are wordless, the only picture books. Only pictures should be there inside the book, and there should be no written, there should not be any written element in that. And once the child sees that, then ask the child to look at it for some time and then to frame his own story or his own, article, or just write 5 sentences or 10 sentences about it. So in today's video, I have explained about what are the advantages of creative writing, and also what are the methods that can be followed inside the classroom as well as in the house. Hope this video will be useful to all the parents, the teachers, and also to my dear students. Thank you.